everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. I finally, thankfully, have James's 150 back together with everything it needed. Let's listen to it run, and we'll chat about what it needed. Should be warmed up. Of course I say that. Of course I say that, and then it doesn't idle. I hadn't tuned it with the air filter on, but it should be good to go. You may detect a hint of frustration, irritation maybe. I have a love-hate relationship with 150s, as in I usually love to hate them. They're a powerful saw, and when they're running, they're great. But when something goes wrong, I would take a mini-Mac over one of these things any day of the week, just because, yeah, to get to anything, you've got to get everything out. Now, it doesn't take that long, but after you've done it a few times on the same saw, I don't know, I've told you before, I've got a quirk where I'll do the same thing on 5 different saws, and it doesn't irritate me. But if I have to do that one thing 5 times on the same saw, it drives me up the damn wall. So I've had this thing apart a lot. You probably figured that out. We did a carb kit. And what else? I'm going to have to go back and look at my notes. Initially, what started the whole thing was I was going to get it running and get this throttle latch working. Well, the throttle latch still isn't working, and I can't make it work. There is a Homelite service manual that I will scan. It's dedicated to this thing. It's like 30 or 40 pages. I mean, it's good pictures, and they detail how the factory thinks you should replace the little spring for that. I don't know how many Homelite techs actually achieved what that manual shows. Anyone who did, man, my hat's off to you. Because I wasted close to 4 hours attempting to get a spring in place here. There's a pin, you can see it right there, that holds that and the spring in place. You drive it all the way through, and that crap will drop out once you get the throttle trigger and the on-off switch out of the way, which is no easy feat either. And you bend this little tool that's supposed to hold everything in alignment and shove it up in there as you're putting that rod in. Only the way the spring is shaped, I don't know how anybody ever could, because the minute you go to shove it up there, as it starts to catch, it pulls it to the side, and yeah, I think my left eye is twitching just talking about it. So I know they were assembled at the factory with all that crap in place, because there's paint on the throttle rod and such in there. So parts of this were assembled. Now, yeah, maybe that was after the fact, maybe they're that good, I don't know. I'm not that good. But beyond that, got a good fuel hose on it, carb kit. The choke linkage was all jacked up, and the button, you can see there's some heavy wear in here. And I'm not actually sure why, and I don't know how the hell plastic wore into this magnesium, but it did. And I think the rod was actually bent out of shape just a little. Well, I know it was. So now this at least operates smoothly as it should. Starter rope, spark plug. To the best I can tell, most of the oil here is from the oil pump, but this does leak a little bit at the tank. I replaced the tank gasket. I sealed the tank gasket with gasket sealer. I still think it weeps a little bit. Nothing else I can do. Part of one of those reasons that I love to hate a 150. This design is just a, yeah. This tank design is prone to leakages like a lot of those earlier Macs. This clamshell setup. But anyway, clutch is in good shape. That rim sprocket still has some life left to it, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it on there. Yeah, not a whole lot else to say. It's running good. You guys heard that. Got it tuned to actually having an air filter on it this time. So this is the... oh, one other piece. There was a lot. The intake manifold and everything got replaced on this. See how this was from over tightening. It was tightened down so hard with the carburetor here that there's a good almost 1/16 of an inch of material that was sucked up. I mean, it was pushed down that hard. So then that translated down here to the base. That's all distorted. You can see how hard the gasket was pressed, and the aluminum is actually distorted as well, that spacer. So I don't know, at some point somebody was in this, and boy, they tightened some fasteners really hard. So anyway, that was also part of why it wouldn't run and start consistently. There was a nice air leak there, and where it was leaking, whether it was up top or back here, it was losing its pulse. The pulse to actuate the carburetor diaphragm. So anyway, with all that being said, this is the first evening that I've actually run it and started it on its own without any horse manure. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple days and do another cold start just to make sure that that we're good to go. But man, I sure hope we are. James, I'm hoping to get this thing drained and aired out probably early next week so that I can get it headed back your way.